Now, if you could own one Bay Area team right now, what would you like to own? And we just did the four major team. We did Giants, Warriors, Niners, A's, Sharks. All due respect, if you want to submit it, feel free to type in Sharks if you would like. Right now, Warriors overwhelming, 47%, followed by the Niners, 27%. Giants, actually the A's 14%, and the Giants at 12%. A little interesting there. But we discussed that because, sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, well, I want to get into why we're discussing that, and I'll ask you some questions.
Well, we're discussing it, one, because Dan Snyder just sold his team to Josh Harris, part of a group there. Josh Harris, obviously the lead managing partner of the New Jersey Devils NHL team, and also the Philadelphia 76ers. So Dan Snyder, probably one of the worst owners, if not the worst owner in the history of sports, Joe Shasky, of at least the last 20 years. Like, I can't think of a worse owner in sports, like, real quick on that.
The A's owner?
Well, I'm saying as a human being, though, I don't think John Fisher, like, what Dan Snyder's, he's got investigated at a federal level.
I know.
Joe Shasky. I know John Fisher, and listen, I hate him sell the team. What he's done to this team, what he's done to this city, what he's doing to this city is despicable. I hate that. But Dan Snyder, on some personal levels, scumbag. Totally.
Of course.
Yes. So I'm just going through memory lane of bad ownership with you real quick. I mean, if you Robert Sarver had to sell,
of course,
Phoenix Suns up there.
We're talking about horrible human beings. Let's push that stuff to the side.
But also their teams were not very good.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, it's funny how one thing bleeds over into the other, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, sloppy people in their personal lives usually run sloppy businesses. Yes. Very rarely are they successful in a variety of fronts. But you're asking, like,
$6 billion, by the way, sells for Washington. The Commanders, $6 billion.
But that doesn't mean he's getting a $6 billion check because he's got to pay off debt collectors and people that he's had partnerships with.
He got fined $60+ million because of all this other.
To him, that's nothing.
Well, I know, but it was alleged. It was found that there was sexual assault. That was found from the independent investigator through this with Dan Snyder. So just lots of gross stuff. And I'm sure Washington fans are rejoicing as if they've won a Super Bowl today. That's a big freaking deal. Like, you have hope now as a franchise. It does suck having an owner like turn your team into a laughingstock. Yeah. It's very hard. The Raiders under Al Davis in the last 20 years of his tenure, it was very hard because we love Al and like what he meant to the sport of football. He helped change it. Like the merger and stuff like that. He was a big part of that. And what he meant to minority coaches, bringing in African-American players to the front office, executives, obviously Amy Trask, bring a female into the front office, all that. He was innovative. And to see his fall, like with personnel decisions, stuff like that towards the end, and having that be the reason why this team isn't very good, it was tough to watch. Now, that was just personnel stuff. And his legacy is solidified, Hall of Famer. It's just tough, man, to be the team that you love being a laughingstock. It's very difficult.
Absolutely. But it's also part of on you for the decisions that you've made throughout the years and not hiring the appropriate people or letting them do their jobs and stuff like that.
I'm saying as a fan. Sorry. Let me clarify.
I thought you meant, I don't know from Al Davis's point of view.
No, Al Davis. It was just hard seeing towards the end there as a fan, watching it all fall apart.
Absolutely.
It's difficult becoming a laughingstock. No. Maybe I did not explain that well. But it's hard as a fan doing that. It is going through that. And I'm feeling that as an A's fan, a lot of A's fans. And it's not even that. Like, it was more so like, oh, you're an A's fan. Like, ugh, why? Like, and stuff like that. People are doing that. And now it's turned into, man, I just feel sorry for you guys. It's just like, we're just like, man, we're getting our hearts ripped out. I'm watching this guy do it to us. It sucks. It just sucks. So I'm happy at least some fan base gets to rejoice that has been downtrodden the last 20 years, and that is Washington fans.
So for you, if you were able to own and you had, X amount of money and influence and all that stuff.
Hell, if I just won the Powerball, maybe I could. That was like $1 billion or something.
You would like to run the A's?
It's interesting because you're kind of starting a new franchise there almost if you're buying the A's, right?
Yeah.
If you get a new building in there, and then you're competing right across the bay. So there is a little part of me like you're brand new to this thing, and you could not rebrand the A's or something like that. But if you go out and spend, try to do big dollars, compete right across the bay, you're the new shiny thing, and you will get fans because you are the new thing, and you can make that sustainable. There is part of me that wants to own the A's. Obviously, NFL is king, though. Like, who wouldn't want to own the 49ers? But it is interesting to see basketball, what Joe Lacob has done. They're overwhelming on this poll. Again, if you're just joining us on Twitch, on YouTube, search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. If you could own one Bay Area team, which would you own? Warriors, 46% right now. Niners, 27%. A's, 14%. Giants, 13%. It's interesting.
When you play video games, Do you like to inherit the team? Do you do fantasy draft? How do you like when you do
I do
a
head-to-head.
dynasty? How do you do it?
I don't do dynasty leagues. Real quick, I don't. But I would do drafts and stuff like that. But I'm mainly more 1v1 kind of a player.
Okay.
I'm more of.
You don't do franchise
I was
mode.
a big Xbox Live guy. No, not franchise guy.
So
No.
one of the things
Also,
that I
just didn't
love
have the time.
One of the things I love doing is creating all my own elements. So like what I'll do is like I'll hit 3 randoms, boom, I'll land on a team, okay? And then I will do a fantasy draft, right? But I'm not selecting anyone. I simulate it and then I trade everyone away and I try to build through the draft over 2 years. I love doing that, almost starting from scratch.
I'll say this real quick.
I love it.
Back the one time I did do the draft, and I actually like doing it, was ESPN 2K5. Greatest football game of all time. I still stand. $20 when it came out. T.O.'s on the cover. All time. You know who I always end up getting like in the 3rd or 4th round? It'd be like Chris Chambers.
Oh, yeah.
He was really good in that
84.
game, though.
Great wide receiver.
When he was with the Chargers. It was really, really good play. Algie Crumpler, another one, a legit tight end there. And then if you ran with Donovan McNabb, and he was that Eagles team was so stacked.
Amazing.
He ran so fast in that game too. I could just run past everyone, and then I could just throw it up to T.O. So yes, go ahead. Just a quick trip down the memory lane.
Yeah, no, I just when I try to play video games, I like to create my own settings and tear it down and build it back up, right? Like that's what I really love doing that because I like having full control and full autonomy. The obvious answer for a lot of people and how they interpret it is how they interpret it. You can go in a lot of directions. That's why I think this is a fun exercise. Most people are going to say the Niners. They're the closest maybe to turnkey where you inherit money over money over money. They're going to be profitable. It's the NFL. It's the sexiest one. It might be the biggest legacy of the 3 organizations if we were going Giants, Niners, Warriors.
Yeah.
And being an NFL owner has its glamour, and being in the NFL has its glamour.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the answer I'm going to take.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why. Because I actually think they're as close to like being a perfect organization in terms of run. They don't have the championship, and I don't think they're perfect, but they're as close to model organization as you can come up. Almost a new stadium. They've got a loaded roster. They've been competing for years. They've got a coach that's sitting there ready to go. Like, they're making about as much money as you could possibly make.
Yes.
I look at the Warriors, kind of the same thing. New venue, championship mold, iconic franchise that's in recent run. They're making about as much money as they possibly can. Then I look at the Giants. I don't think they're making as close to as much as they could make. Oh. I think they're the most depreciated outside of the A's of the 3 in terms of what they could be making and what they are making. I think the gap is the biggest there.
There you go. John Fisher again, the gap.
I want to take over the Giants. I want to be in the ballpark every day. I want to be able to do something every day, right? I want to be at the ballpark mingling every single day.
You want to challenge, it sounds like, too.
Absolutely.
You want to challenge Joe Shasky.
Absolutely. And I want to usher that team into the top 5. And the way I look at this is the Niners are in the top 5. Would you agree? Glamour, money, expectations of their sport.
Real quick on the Niners, shout out Jed York for that, because would we be saying this is a model franchise, 6 or 7 years ago?
People don't want to hear this.
Chip Kelly, Jim Tomsula?
I'll be the first to admit it. I've railed this guy for a long time. Jed York's been a great owner.
Well, I think isn't that in part because we just don't ever hear from him and he doesn't ever talk and he doesn't.
He's
made
good decisions.
Think about this.
That kind of
that's what I mean, though. Like,
it's not just that.
The good decision making he's making is that he's just kind of staying out of the way, which is I think that's what great owners do: hire the right people and then just shut up.
Well, Sam, he kept the team here. Like, I'm watching the A's with one foot out the door. I'm watching the Raiders leave.
Yeah.
He kept the team here. Now, is it in San Francisco? No. Yeah. It beats them being in LA.
Yes.
It beats them being in another market.
Well, and also, real quick, you said something there, Sammy, that I just want my owner to be quiet and do all that sort of stuff. Well, we see an owner in Joe Lacob who's the opposite of that and still successful. So there are ways you can do it.
Yes.
You can be loud and boisterous and talk your talk and talk the walk and walk the walk and talk the talk. You can do all that. But also, I think a majority are with what Sam said. Be more like a Jed York. Be quiet. Let the other guys do it. That's fine. But I think Joe Lacob, he can't help himself. And he's a great speaker, too. And when I hear this guy talk, it's like, I can't get enough of Joe Lacob when he's speaking. It's fascinating. Jed York, he put his foot in his mouth and he got in trouble a lot of times. But he realized that.
But you know what? All the talk about Joe Lacob putting up all the money for the luxury tax, Jet's put his money where his mouth is.
He absolutely has. I'll give him credit.
He has to put money in escrow every single time. And outside of DeForest Buckner, every single guy you've wanted, they've paid for.
And they made savvy business moves. Hey, they just bought Leeds United. They're the main shareholder there in the English Premier League. I think they just got relegated to the Championship League, whatever. But that's just I'm just telling you as another aspect for Jed York and that York family.
You cannot be an inept owner and have a brand new stadium in the market you grew up in, and then also have multiple trips to the Super Bowl with 2 different head coaches and 2 different GMs.
No.
You can't be in a 10-year period.
No,
you just can't be. I'm sorry.
You can't be.
And as bad as it was in between the two, he figured it out.
It's interesting. Willard talks about this a lot because he covered a lot of those Southern California teams, specifically the Chargers with the Spanos family. The Chargers had a lot of talent for a lot of years, the last 20 years. Just think about how stacked those teams were. Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates. Part of that, hell, they had Drew Brees. This is all after Ryan left the bus, by the way. They had all these names. The only problem was every single now Justin Herbert. He ain't winning a damn thing with Dean Spanos as an owner. You know why? Because it's a trickle-down effect.
Yeah.
What happened? Who just blew one of the worst leads in the history of the playoffs? Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
They had a chance to move off of him and go after a guy named Sean Payton. Now maybe Sean Payton goes after the Denver Broncos. You don't have those conversations still? Right away, everyone's like, oh no, Brandon Staley's staying. You're sticking with that guy?
Yeah.
Why, Joe Shasky? Because the owner's cheap and he wants to keep him around.
I don't know.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's an ownership thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you can have the talented teams, you can have all this, but if your owner's not all on board and he's not making the right decisions there, you ain't winning anything. So I give credit to Jed, yeah.
You look at the Niners, like they changed the uniforms, right? They've done pretty much everything that you're looking for. The only thing they haven't accomplished is getting past that final step and winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which, okay, fine. So if you took over the Niners, if you took over the Niners and you won the Super Bowl next year, wouldn't most people be like, yeah, you kind of inherited a really good situation?
Yeah, but it says something about winning.
I'm just saying.
But yes.
But wouldn't you say that? Because we would say that about a head coach.
Yeah.
Right? The Warriors.
Steve Kerr.
Yeah, the Warriors. If you took over the Warriors and you won the 5th title this year, right? Wouldn't for Steph and all those guys, most people would say, you inherited a pretty good thing.
This year,
if you took over for Lakeup.
This year, real quick, though, you inherited a mess, though, as well.
For sure,
you
inherited Steph Curry.
Yes, you inherited the Hall of Famers, but also it's a very tricky. The Warriors are a very interesting case study. It's very interesting. But yes, for your overall premise, yes, I'll say yes.
All right, and then you look at the Giants, and they feel so far behind those other 2 organizations in terms of being close to a championship. And if you inherited the Giants and you ended up somehow winning a championship, wouldn't you feel like you accomplished something?
Yes, I would. I feel like, man, I was the reason I brought this hunger for baseball back into the city that hasn't been here since 2014 when they won that last World Series. Coming up on almost 10 years.
I know.
That's wild. It's
and I
scary.
don't think it's the most profitable because I think the NFL is the most profitable when it comes to, like, if you were making money, right?
Ratings-wise,
absolutely.
It's just out, yeah.
The Giants have never, in my lifetime, had that singular owner that steps up out in front. One guy that owns the majority of the team. It's always been a panel of people. Now, they've had figureheads, Larry Baer, Peter McGowan. They've been figureheads. They haven't had that one owner.
Yeah.
I want to be that one owner, sitting behind home plate, sitting near the dugout every single day, walking around, being accessible to the fans. All right? I want to be the one that brings back the 1980 uniforms.
Are you Arthur Blank on the sidelines
Hell
walking around with the suit, the Home Depot money?
Dude, I might come out chest bump Camilo Duvall as he's coming into the game. I want to be the one that lands the big free agent. I want to be the one that signs some of these guys after making a sweet trade. I do. I want to be that guy. I really do. I would want to take over the San Francisco Giants because to me, they've got the farthest to go. And to me, there's the most money to be made on that team because they have the farthest to go.
Absolutely. Dave in Fremont wants to chime in here. What Bay Area team would you buy right now if you could? A's, Giants, Niners, Warriors. Which one? That's the YouTube poll question right now. Search 95.7 The Game. Like and subscribe. Ring the bell. Just give us a like there. Look at all our videos. Look at everything. Every single time you come on, hit that like button. We appreciate you. Dave, you're in Fremont, and you're also on the Morning Roast. What's going on, man?
Morning, fellas. Yeah, I love y'all on the YouTube chat because it's funny seeing your guys' facial expressions for some of the callers.
Appreciate that.
Can't read a lot
Real quick, I just wanted to say, when you guys are talking about Jed York, I think he learned a lesson after the Harbaugh thing, and I got to give him a lot of credit. He's kind of learned to be quiet and let the coaches and the players kind of do what they're supposed to do. So big credit to him. I'm going to go off the board a little bit. I'm going to take the Sharks.
Wow.
More of a
why?
Yeah, it's more of a selfish reason. One, because they're the last team in the Bay Area that I haven't seen win a Stanley Cup or, excuse me, a championship. Now, I'm not an A's fan or a Raiders fan, but then again, like I said, last team in the Bay Area to win a Stanley Cup. And I just feel like, maybe if I was the GM, maybe we could actually draft, maybe get a coach in there that has a different style of, rather than prevent hockey, take a lead into the third period and then just sit back on it. Seems like they get the same coach there all the time. But, hockey's a growing sport. And, the Sharks have always been a team that's been close to my heart. So, I would take the Sharks.
I like
that.
And,
you guys have a great day.
Do you think that the Sharks, you could do more marketing, don't you think, in hockey? Like, they have a long way to go.
Thanks, Dave.
For being one of the big ones. They're a team that was an afterthought.
Yeah, that's one where it's just like you have an SAP. I know it's not. It is kind of getting up there in age.
Well, they wanted a new stadium.
They want a new stadium, and I don't think San Jose is like, we're not going to give you anything for that.
Do
So
you think the Bay Area could be a market that could ever actually embrace hockey? Because I feel like the Sharks are just such a forgotten team here in the Bay Area.
Well,
I always remember when they went to when they were good. It's like they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, and it was kind of unfortunate because they did so in the shadow of the Warriors' 73-win season, and I feel like that kind of took away some of the sizzle from the Sharks going to the Cup, and that was a really big deal for that team, for that fan base. Just being there was huge for them. But now it's just, when we talk sports, we're talking about it's Giants, Niners, Warriors, sometimes it's A's. How this station, how often do we get into the Sharks? It feels it doesn't help that they're bad right now, but even when they're good, it seemed like we kind of really had to force ourselves just to mention them.
Hockey in general is never going to click in the West Coast.
I guess that was my question.
Not. We don't have snow. I'm sorry.
But I would say this. I've got buddies, and we were talking about content earlier this morning. I've got buddies. My buddy Matt Murphy, Anthony LaRocca. These guys, huge Sharks fans. They know every guy on the team. Ryan Covey, huge Shark fan. There's just not enough of those people to be able to warrant the discussion. And people would literally be texting us, this is a tune-out. I don't care.
I don't disagree with you on that. I just wonder, do you ever think we can get to a position where that's not the case? Because, you're saying, like Spadoni, you're saying, your friends are texting you, what's going on with Andrew Wiggins? For me, my friends are texting me, why aren't you talking about the Sharks? And I give them exactly what you just said, Shasky. And yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's I wish we could talk about the Sharks. I think it would be cool if we could, but it's just, like I said, it's the feel isn't there.
Hockey just isn't that sport where, I don't know anyone in the sport. I know, say, Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin. Do you know? Name me 3 more stars. Can you? I'm so I don't mean to put anyone on the spot. Let's Connor McDavid. Okay.
The Tampa Bay Lightning won 3 championships, right?
I can't name. Stamkos, is he still there?
I mean, I think when ESPN stopped doing, and I know they're back with them, but when they stopped doing business with the NHL, everything died.
At least in soccer, we can talk about all these big stars, Mbappe's, Messi, Ronaldo. At least there's something there. That's why I think that's the next big sport to take off is MLS. I think that may surpass NHL in the next couple decades here.
Interesting.
Especially with the growth of the women's sport, with the men's, the U.S. national teams, obviously Women's World Cup going on now. Shout out USA. We're going for the 3-peat. We're going to get it, by the way. I think we're playing open up with Vietnam.
Yeah.
It's a 6.5 goal favorites or something. We're going to smash them. What I love about the early group stages when you have a good team, though, like the U.S., they pour it on because goal differential matters in this stuff.
Yes.
So they pour it on. They scored 10, 12. We're going to ramp up the score. Absolutely. Dave is in the 408. What's going on, Dave? You're on the Morning Roast, Spadoni and Shasky.
Hey, what up, fellas? Happy Friday.
Yes. Payday Friday.
Yeah, so Spadone, you're killing it this week in lieu of Bonte. I wanted to give you props on that.
Appreciate
I think you guys' discussions and the dynamics been nice. I want to give you congratulations.
I appreciate that.
That means a lot to me,
job.
Dave. No, seriously, that means a lot. Thank
but
you,
I'm a Chargers fan, and I got to push back on this narrative because the narrative that you're pushing that Spanos is cheap. Let's see, I got Bosa, Mack, J.C. Jackson. These are all big top 3 contracts in each of their positions. I'm not even talking about Corey Linsley, the second highest paid center.
Real quick, Dave.
Yeah,
not the head coach, though.
On a huge
Sorry, Dave. I don't mean to cut you off.
Break the bank.
Dave, not to cut you off. The head coach is not a highest paid head coach, though, is what I'm saying. I'm saying they could have. I think Dean Spanos saw Sean Payton didn't want to pay him.
He wasn't available at the time. Sean Payton wants total autonomy, so he's going to get that in Denver. He wasn't going to get that there. You still got Tom Telesco as the general manager. Now Staley in his first 2 years has taken the team. He has a plus 500 record. So they missed the playoffs in the first year. They went to the playoffs in the second year, and of course they blew it last year. But you know how they blew it? Joe Lombardi. That guy's offense couldn't get one first down in that second half. and Joe Lombardi is now with Sean Payton in Denver. So they went and got Kellen Moore, one of the best up-and-coming young offensive coordinators. Let's see how the Chargers do now, and let's see this big old contract that Herbert's going to get. I'm telling you, I was there for those years of Phillip Rivers and LaDainian, and it pained me. But every year we got to the AFC Championship, we had to play the Patriots. You know how hard that was? All those teams were so loaded.
All right.
And then you had
I love you, buddy. I love you. It's about enough Charger talk for July.
And God bless him. Brandon Staley's a defensive head coach. They blew a 27-point lead. Come on. Miss me with that. It's Dean Spanos. And Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, yeah, they did show up short in that playoff game. Very short.
We're getting a lot of I'd love to own the Oakland Roots.
Ooh, interesting. I'm telling you,
B. Dorm in Vacaville.
Soccer's the sport to be coming up. That's the next big thing over hockey.
His wife is part owner on it was the female soccer team.
Yeah, the local affiliate. I'm not sure the exact team.
Yeah. They had
but
red
I didn't know
turquoise.
she played collegiately. So yeah,
she did.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, it's huge. Women's soccer here in America, we are so far ahead of a lot of the other major countries because they didn't adopt them until in the last 20, 30 years as like a major sport for females. USA's been at the forefront of that for 50, 40 years.
Yeah.
So that's why we're so far ahead of a lot of these people. And that's why the US men's team is so far behind. And now we're just now seeing it catch up with a lot of guys in Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, all this sort of stuff. It's because we're finally now taking it seriously here at the youth level. Real quick before the break, we got George Contos coming up next here at 8:30. Talk some Giants. Anthony's in Hayward, wants to talk about owning a team. What's going on, Anthony?
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, guys. Happy Payday Friday. I might be a little biased on my opinion, but I'm a diehard A's fan. But if I had the chance to buy a team, it would be definitely the Oakland A's.
Okay.
I mean, just think about it. You can't do any worse than the current owners. And
Facts.
if you do turn around the team, you'll be considered like a Superman, like Superman Returns.
Yeah. It's a great call.
That's a great call. Thank you, Anthony, for chiming in there.